We're going to look at working with dates and the different configurations. Basically speaking, there are two different ways of looking at dates. Let's bring some measure data into the rows, and let's try to chop up this data according to another dimension like market. So when we look at a dimension like market, we realize that this item has a few different fields, a few different members of it, 4 different members. And that's probably the easiest way I can describe looking at a field as a dimension. A dimension is going to have members that will split up the measure. If we split up the order date by its members, the highest level would be the years. The next order down would be the quarters. Dates are organized naturally into a hierarchy of the aggregation: years, quarters, months, and days. So we'll call this sheet discrete. If we look at dates instead as a measure, I guess in the continuous fashion, let's try to chop up sales again and the other way that we can make a configuration of date is to right-click, drag it over. We can look at date as a continuous value. Let's look at it in the highest aggregation. So at its top level, with the most detail possible, dates as an exact value, you see the continuum all across, with every point in between, but that is really difficult to see. The other way that we can work with dates is that we can click on this arrow over here and we can create a custom date. Let's say we want to work with the months as a continuous value. Use continuous months. It automatically chops up the months associated with the years. And it'll do the same, it'll act in the same way if we create a custom date for the quarters. Quarters are associated with the years, and this is a continuum across all of the dates that are associated over with this date field. Now we're going to look at, let's try to create a hierarchy over here. So continuous dates, continuous hierarchy. We tried to create a hierarchy of quarters and months. When we're looking at the top level, it's fine. But now we see we have 2 continuums over here. Continuous date values cannot become members of each other because continuous values are independent and they want to be by themselves. So we take out one of the values so that this can be represented as the continuum. Whereas if we create a continuum of discrete values, they can be organized hierarchically like other dimensions. So let's, where am I? Let's create a few custom dates. Let's look at quarters. So discrete quarters. And we're looking at the date part because we want to look at it as a category. And we're going to create one more. Create custom date, months. Discrete months as a date part. We created a hierarchy over here. Discrete hierarchy. When we try to use this to chop up our data, it would be just like the other way we chopped up our data, except we don't have the years in over here. So it's looking at all the quarters as the top level category. The panes would be consisted of the months. And that is how you can configure dates using right-click dragging, creating custom dates, and looking at dates as a continuous value or as discrete fields.